Good morning, good afternoon. What time is it? I don't know what time it is. It's afternoon. Sorry, I'm a little bit later than I expected, but I was up a little bit later than I was supposed to be. Okay, so I am just jumping on to give you stage one of starting cranberry sauce. I'm gonna try to pop on and off at each stage. That way people aren't just having to sit around and watch. But if you want to do it right alongside me, your stuff should be ready probably when my stuff is. So should be fairly even. Can you move that, please? So first things first, cranberry sauce is super, super simple. When you do it, you want to use a tall pot because the boiling fruit and sugars basically you're going to get hot like candy. So you can get some nasty burns. So tall pot is absolutely essential anytime you do jams, jellies, or sauces, okay? Because you don't want the pan to be fuller than the halfway point. That way splattering does not come out of the pot and get you. Also, when you are reaching in to stir, if it's a recipe that you stir, thankfully, cranberry sauce is not one that you have to stir once you have the sugar dissolved. Make sure you have a long pot mitt to protect your forearm and your hand. Okay, so to start with, you need 4 1/4 cups cranberry to 1 3/4 cup water. And the first thing we're gonna do is put that in our saucepan and we're gonna put it on to cook. And you can see here, I already have cranberries measured. Now I have enough set here for 4 batches. So, and I'm not going to jelly it all in one batch because then the pot would be too full and it would, be a disaster waiting to happen. But the pan is, you can see, because these are froze, it's right up to here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the back burner and turn it on high. And so just like we did with the cranberry juice, you're gonna let this heat, you'll occasionally stir it, and then when the berries start breaking, you'll turn down the heat just a little bit and let it simmer for 5 minutes to really help break up the pulp. And then we will take that out and we will process it in the food mill. And then we'll take portions of it, mix it with 2 cups of sugar, boil it to the gelling point, and then we will can it. So pretty straightforward process. So that's pretty much it for now. This needs a little bit of time to cook. I will jump back on when they're starting to show some breakage to show you again what that looks like. It's exactly the same though as what you saw for the juice yesterday. And maybe pop back on as we mill it. So I won't be saving any or straining anything, so there's no juice or anything to strain. You take juice and all and you strain it and mill it at the same time. So there's not really anything that you're going to discard except for the seeds and pulp. Seeds and skin. Also, to follow up on last night, I wanted to show you, we have cranberry puree in here. And that is dehydrating for fruit leather. So, and the vents are open wide. Heat's on high, so probably by tomorrow we'll be ready to refill it with the second batch. I am going to be coming back on in just a few minutes because we're going to be going outside and I'm going to show you how we wash Swiss chard coming out of the garden because I'm going to be canning that this afternoon into the evening. So that will be a pressure can lesson later on tonight as well, in addition to the cranberry sauce. So anybody who wants to watch along with that, you're welcome to. So we will see you all later. Okay, so we have reached the stage where we're letting it simmer 5 minutes. All of the berries are broke. So I'm just gonna show you what that looks like. I know many of you saw it on the juice tutorial last night. You can see all the steam on my microwave. So, and you do want to be careful when you're stirring this, that you don't have any splatter coming up on you because it will get ya. So we're just gonna let this simmer for 5 minutes. I've got about 3 minutes and 44 seconds left. And then we'll be back. I'm gonna let it set for 5 minutes to cool before we mill it. And then we'll be back on to show you how it's done. And we're back. The 5-minute timer is up, and so I want to show you the milling process. So we're just taking ladles of this, which you can still see is very hot even after the 5 minutes. We have the food mill with the finest mesh strainer so we can get out the maximum amount of seeds, and my husband is going to start milling it. He's like, well, why am I being on camera? I'm not showing your face. It's a super pretty color, isn't it? You might need to back to it to get the skins off. My husband's kind of babying me because of last night's shenanigans. Isn't he sweet? So once we get this milled, I'm going to give this stock pot a good wash, and then I will be back on to show you how to cook it to a jelly point. And see, you can see the first sets of skin are already trying to block the little strainer piece in the bottom. All right, so we'll see you in a few minutes. Whoops. Hello. So we have been done with the puree and the milling in quite a long while. Sorry, I'm so tongue-tied today. For quite a long while. So this is what we have. That there, and then this here. So I divided it into 2 batches. I am doing a double batch. I would not recommend it for people who are not experienced, but because this is a recipe that does not call for pectin, because cranberries are naturally high in pectin, I'm not going to be adding any. However, this little bit comes to maybe here on the outside of this pot. But when it starts boiling, that's going to increase to about here, which is why I don't recommend, doing 3 or 4 batches at once. Canner is already on, steaming, and so we're just going to let this get going. I already stirred in 4 cups of sugar. It's 2 cups of sugar to every batch of cranberry sauce. Jellied cranberry sauce, again, just to reiterate, you would use 4 1/4 cups of cranberries to 1 3/4 cup of water. Simmer it till the berries burst, and then simmer it for another 5 minutes. And then you're going to let this heat up. And you can see I already got some steam coming out through there. All right. And as it starts getting hotter, I am going to put a glove on so that I don't have any risk of splatter. But there shouldn't be really too much need to stir. Recipes that require a lot of stirring will say stir constantly. And as you can see, this is a ball canning book. So once you bring to a boil over medium heat, stir it until sugar dissolves, increase heat to high, boil hard until mixture begins to sheet from middle spoon. And then you're gonna remove from the heat, do the gel test. If the gel test is reached, then you're gonna skim off the foam and ladle into your jars. So pretty straightforward. Doesn't require a lot of stirring or anything like that. But again, if you're gonna stir, because you're using a deep pot, you want a long mitt so that you don't get any burns from splatter. So it's not gonna take very long. because it's not really a lot in the pot. And you can see they're already getting the simmer bubbles right here. And the sugar is pretty much all dissolved. Cranberry sauce is one of those jellies that doesn't really tend to scorch or burn. Knock on wood, because I just said it out loud, right? Yep, I'm still live. That's all right. And I'm going to put this in wide mouth pints just because I like to have it slide out easy when we use it. Whether you prefer to chop it up or whether you prefer it in slices, it's just easier that way. All right, I think this is pretty much all dissolved. Normally this does not take as long as I've taken to do this today. Normally it's a just get her done, but we had company and people I wanted to see. So we took our time today. So it would have been a much quicker process under normal circumstances. And so I want this to come to a full rolling boil. You want to put that back on, Vince? Keep the jars hot. And we're starting to have a boil. All right. There we go. Now see how we still have bubbles despite my stirring? That's what we want. So now I'm going to put the glove on because I do not want any splatter on me. Getting really nice and bubbly. And you can see the spoon, how it just falls off, so that's not quite sheeting yet. Sorry, my dog heard a car. He wants to be on the video too. So we're really getting going. And see, I already have jelly splatters coming out. See how it's developing that foam? That is what we'll skim when it's ready. See how it's changing? It's almost ready. And we're almost there. I like it to have a nice clean break. Nate? Alan? Yes. Can you put a trivet on this counter because this is about ready to come off the burner? I just want to check this jelly. Nope, not yet. Okay, so if you look at the trivet, I'm just going to step it over here in case that splatters. See this mark right here? So that's almost. See how you can see the remnants of the jelly there? That's not really a clean break yet, but we're very close. I think we might be there. So we're just let that cool for a second. Okay. And nope, not quite. Just see how it's not filling back in? We are almost there though. Just gonna get funnel out because I forgot to take that out already. So I just realized it. Okay. And we're good. And you can see all the splatter. It's a messy process. But again, that's why you want to be appropriately clothed, have your shoes on. And there we go. We're ready. Okay, so I'm going to take this off the stove. And we are going to start filling jars. So, oh, bear with my mess. Probably will only take 2 jars to fill. Hon, would you come man the camera, please? Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit unprepared compared to normal. You can see it's already starting to set up. Thanks. Okay. You can see if you look inside that there is no foam. We boiled it hard and there actually ended up being none. So there's no skimming. Now had this had foam, then yes, or we would have skimmed. I'm gonna add just a little bit more in this jar. Just a hair. I'm gonna make a mess all over my kitchen. Pause. I need to wet that. Just 1 second. So just like cranberry juice, cranberry jelly is a 1/4 inch headspace. Cranberry jelly sauce, I should say. Jellied cranberry sauce. I just need to reach over you. And just finger tight because you don't want to crease your lids. And there we go. Next 2 jars. pretty straightforward process. Average yield for each recipe, or each batch I should say, is about 2 pints. You will want to wash your pot between batches so that you don't have some that goes candied. And I'm actually going to have enough in here to do a 1/2 pint jar. Hey Nate, can you grab a 1/2 pint jar out of the pantry? A 1/2 pint jar, a half size jelly jar. And I found that graphic. I wanted to show you where you can use the threads for counting the headspace. So I will post that as soon as this gets into boil. Yeah, you can see that's already starting to get firm in there. Rinse it with hot water, please. Yep, that will do. There's one in your left hand. And any little bits that are left over, you can just put in a sealable container. I prefer glass, but you can choose what you want and eat it up. So there's a good amount of jelly still in there. You got it? Did you rinse it hot? Your dog is right underneath my feet. And that's going to be too much. By how much? Take a tablespoon of that out. That made a mess, didn't it? It's okay that it's a little messy. We're not always this messy, as you know. But it's okay to be messy sometimes. And then we're just gonna submerge that. You can see the jars are all covered by 1 inch of water. We're gonna put the cover on, let this come up to boiling. And then once we have a rolling boil, we'll start the timer for 15 minutes. And that's making jellied cranberry sauce. So if you have any questions, let me know. I've got one more batch to do and I won't make you suffer through it. As you can see, I've had quite the day. But yeah, I'm gonna clean up my mess and start again. And then I'm on to Swiss chard because why not? My burns are nasty looking, but the area around them that was extremely red is much better. But I black and blued between the 2 worst spots. Not sure why, but I did. But I'll show you the crop. This is the Swiss chard we'll be doing. So it's all washed, sitting in front of the air conditioner to stay cool. And that is next. So this we will chop, blanch to wilt, and then we'll fill the jars loosely to the shoulder, and then we will put a teaspoon of salt in each jar, boiling water over to the proper headspace, and then they will go in the pressure canner for 90 minutes. So I'm guessing we probably have maybe 2 loads here. So probably 14 quarts. So not bad for a good first harvest that's been kind of hardy. So yeah. All right. We will see you later. Bye.